Hey, it's Jason Mudd from Axia Public Relations. I hope you're doing well. I want to talk to you about what I'm calling a news brief. And a lot of times when it comes to public relations, clients and corporate leadership, they want a news release. But I've got to tell you a little secret. I've earned more media coverage from not ever writing a news release than I have from writing a news release. Now, why is that? Because no one likes news releases. The recipients don't like them. Legal doesn't like them. It's a tool that's very useful for the right situations. Here's the thing. A reporter loves to have something in writing from you to cover their rear, right? So they've got something from your company in writing that they can base their news story off of, but they don't want to just publish a news release. And that seems like decades old of a practice. So the best media coverage comes from one, having a great story, something very newsworthy. We'll insert the link to what's newsworthy here so you can review it. So you got to have something newsworthy. The second thing is relationships. The third thing is a good story to tell. And so one of the techniques that I've used over the years is instead of doing a whole formal news release, just write down some of the information. Most news that your company is worth having where it's all about you is going to be brief anyway. And by brief, I mean 1 to 5 paragraphs, maybe even 1 to 3 paragraphs. And to be honest, people like reading news briefs. I used to get very disappointed when, back in the day, somebody reading a print newspaper or something, and the story that we pitched only came across as a little brief. And sometimes these briefs are only a sentence or 2 or 3 long, but that's what people read. And it really surprised me when we would get a briefed, as it's called, when we get our announcement briefed, how many people would talk about it. How many people say, oh, I saw your mention in the paper. And that would get more views and eyeballs than when we were quoted in a fuller length article. And I think it's because the digestible nature of the small news bits or news briefs that are so easy to digest. You can read 5 of them in a quick minute, and it's very easy for everybody involved. Here's where I'm going with this. So instead of writing a formal news release, get rid of the header and the contact information and the date line and all that stuff, and just a simple headline, 1 to 3 paragraphs summarizing what your news is, and submit that and see if that doesn't improve the earned media coverage that your company is getting instead of doing these long and elaborate news releases. If you can't get away with that because of the culture or the misunderstanding or perception or criteria of your client or your marketing department, here's another idea. Write the news release. Write it for the boardroom. Make the boardroom super happy. Make your leadership and management team super happy. Then write the brief you know that's going to get coverage. Make it all about the audience or the readers or the viewers or the recipient of the news brief. Don't worry about what corporate wants. Put the news brief in the email, okay, and then attach and mention, say, see attached news release for more information. You're checking a box. You're covering your bases of sending a news release. It's the official company news release, but you're also doing the recipient or the editor a favor of narrowing it down to what's really newsworthy, what's really important in this content, and that's it. Really simple way. I think your contacts in the newsroom will appreciate it. You need to start developing some discernment of what is worthy of a news release and a full news story versus what's worth just being quoted as part of a bigger picture story, and what is just more of a news release or a news brief that ultimately that editor is going to spend time taking your news release and cutting it to get it down to a brief. Wouldn't you be better off picking what's in that news brief yourself than leaving it up to an editor who's not as familiar with your company, your products, your services, and your experts to do the work for you? Do the work for them instead. Make their life easier. That's my tip. Hope you liked it. I look forward to reading your comments and your special requests for other content you'd like to see from us. Again, I'm Jason Mudd from Axia Public Relations. Let's stay in touch. Thanks for watching.